Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got the tank review for the brand new Tier 8 Premium Japanese medium tank, the Kame. If you do like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below as it really does help out the channel. And yes, Kamehameha! It is the brand new Tier 8 Japanese medium tank. It is a pretty well balanced Tier 8 medium tank. It's pretty good at what it does. It's got average mobility, pretty damn nice camo, pretty good gun handling, good DPM for a Tier 8 medium tank, and on the whole, it's just an okay vehicle. The hull armour doesn't really work that well at all, but it can, because of the angling, get you the odd ricochet, and the turret armour on it is flat. It's a flat 200mm on these turret cheeks right here, which means that you can bounce the lower tiers quite easy, Tier 6, Tier 7, and even some of your own tier on flat you'll bounce, but for the most part, if you're using your 10 degrees of gun depression, that's where you'll ricochet shots off this turret front, but it's not a very well armoured medium tank, so it's not one that you want to be going, aha, I'm in a medium tank, lol, bounce all you can off of me, because most of the time they generally won't do that. But yeah, the Kame on the whole, I've thoroughly enjoyed playing it for this review. It's a pretty damn solid medium tank. It's just a standard medium tank, to be fair. If you know what you're doing with medium tanks, you will have fun with this vehicle, and this vehicle is fully capable of doing well. So let's get into the statistics for the Kame. So as you can see, we've got 50km/h top speed with a 20km/h reverse speed, 650 horsepower engine, is 18.57 horsepower per ton ratio. So you do get up to that 50km/h pretty easily. 20km/h reverse speed is great as well, and it's just really nice in terms of that reverse speed. 50km/h in the top speed is just, yeah, it's nice, but it's just generally pretty average for a medium tank. 12% internal fire chances on the low end of fire chances, and I've not really been set on fire in this vehicle yet, so that's quite nice for the Kame. We've got 40 degrees a second on the hull rotation speed, with 46 degrees a second on the turret rotation speed, so the turret does turn faster than the tracks, and that is pretty nice for the Kame. Ground resistances that don't hold the tank back whatsoever in getting to its top speed. 330 meters of still concealment is okay. You can get that down with camo net and the crew skills down to about 286, 85, something like that in terms of the concealment, which means that you can get pretty damn good concealment on this Kame, which will save you in quite a lot of situations. 354 meters on the move concealment as well. You can get that down to only 10 meters off it if you use silent driving, so it's not too bad. 400 meters of view range is fantastic. That's above average in terms of Tier 8 medium tank view range, because generally for Tier 8s you're looking at about 380. So 400 is fantastic. You will be able to spot for yourself fantastically, get very nice assistance damage games, and you'll have a good time with that in the old Kame. 1.32 accuracy during rotation is not that great. With a 2.52 accuracy during movement, that's not too great either. But with the crew skills, you can get that down to a decent enough level that you don't actually really need the gun stabilizer. And that means that because your aim time is actually going to be really good, you can set up to go for that camouflage. But if the gun handling does really annoy you, you could drop the camouflage, just go, you know what, screw the camo, I don't want the camo, run the gun stabilizer, and you will get a better aim circle bloom by running that gun stabilizer. And the gun stabilizer will make this gun super duper snappy. 0.36 accuracy at 100 meters is also on the derpier end of accuracies, as generally once you go above 0.35 in terms of accuracy, that's where it's starting to get more and more derpy, so it misses its shots more. But with the crew skills and stuff like that, you will get that down to a pretty damn accurate level. 10 degrees of gun depression means you are extremely flexible on a ridgeline, which is very, very nice for the Kame, which is where you want to be playing this vehicle realistically. Get yourself to those ridge lines where you can use bush locations to stay unspotted, fire and then pull back, and also spot out from those ridge lines. You've got a 2-second aim time for this gun as well, which is absolutely fabulous and means that the aim circle goes down very, very fast, meaning you're ready to just snap the shots in pretty quickly in this Kame. With a 9.3 second reload, that's 2064 DPM. You can get that up to about 2.8k DPM, which is pretty nice for a Tier 8 medium tank. With 215 penetration on the standard AP rounds, which is around the average mark for penetration for Tier 8 meds. With 270 pen on the premium heat rounds, which is very, very nice. And 53mm of penetration on the HE rounds as well, that do 420 damage. And the the two normal rounds, I should say, that aren't HE, do 320 damage. You got 1,000 meters a second shell velocity on that standard AP, so bang average in terms of the shell velocity, which means you do have to give a considerable amount of lead at distance to be able to hit your targets. with 880 meters a second shell velocity on the premium heat round, which is slower than average. So be careful when you load the heat round that it does travel slower than the standard AP, and you will have to adjust for that when you do switch to it to shoot things at distance. And you've got a 150% silver bonus as well, which is on the lower end for tier 8 silver earners. And generally, it does make good silver because it is a premium tank, but it won't make as good a silver as quite a few other vehicles. So let's have a quick look at the modules for the Kame. So as you can see, that's where the engine block is at the back. If you're getting shot in that back end, the whole back end is the engine, so your engine will probably get damaged. With the ammo racks being absolutely everywhere. I've not really experienced it too badly yet in this vehicle, getting ammo racked. But as you can see, if you were to shoot it in the little bar above the tracks underneath the turret, you're likely to damage its ammo rack, possibly blow it, all that good stuff. Same as shooting it in the back of the turret right there. So be careful of that when you're in your Kame, and if you're shooting at this thing, that's kind of where you want to aim for. And in terms of the crew, as you can see, this is where the crew sits in the vehicle. There's 4 of them. So yeah, that's where you can knock people out. If you wanted to kill the commander, for example, you shoot them through the little cupola here or through that section of the turret, you're probably going to kill the commander. And in terms of the armor, like I say, this vehicle doesn't really have much. The front plates will probably end up getting penned all the time by everything. You have, I believe, 40mm of side armor, which is not very helpful, and means you can side scrape against 120 minus guns. So, you know, if you're going against a Conqueror or anything that's got that similar kind of gun, you can bounce them, but generally, yeah, you're going to get overmatched by anything that's a Soviet-type vehicle with a 121mm caliber gun plus, so be very careful of that in the Kame, that your side armor is a poo generally and will get overmatched by a lot of higher caliber guns, like the TDs or the Soviet vehicles or stuff like that goes the 122mm guns, you know. And your turret armor is the only real key strength that the tank has in terms of armor, and it's not the greatest in the universe. It's 200mm of thickness, but it is pretty damn flat. It's not the most angled in the universe, meaning that you will get penned most of the time by 220 plus pen quite easily on flat through that. If you're using your full 10 degrees of gun depression, you might ricochet a few more shots off of it. It's not pure paper, which is decent at least, but generally don't rely on this, and especially since the cupola is rather large and very easy to hit, and it's only 100mm of thickness, that will also be very, very easy for people to be able to pen, so it's just a giant weak spot that's there saying, hello, shoot me, so be careful of that with your Kame. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment? Well, I've put the crew in the Edelweiss, so I do run, in terms of that crew, Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Camouflage Expertise, Silent Driving, Steady Aim, Run and Gun, Snapshot. So I run all 3 gun perks to make sure that I don't have to run the gun stabilizer, and it keeps this gun being pretty damn nice, and the ability to use the DPM at its maximum capacity so I can hit my shots, which is pretty good for the Kame. The Camouflage Expertise and the Silent Driving to make the camo generally better on the vehicle and the camo better while moving. As you can see, it decreases it by 55%. I do set it up for camo, as that is pretty nice to use on this vehicle, seeing as it doesn't really have that much armor. It's nice to have the camouflage, but you could definitely run it in different ways if you wanted to. Like, again, if you didn't want to run for the camo and just say, screw it, I'm not running camo, you could run anything else, like armor angling to reduce the amount of damage coming into the tank, track mechanic to get the tracks back on quicker if you were to get tracked. There's plenty of things that you could run, like rapid aim or clutch braking as well, to be able to increase the track traverse or the turret traverse. It's down to you and how you feel comfortable playing the tank. There is no real right or wrong way to set up a vehicle. And in terms of the equipment, I do run the advanced loader, the camo net, and optics. Optics to be able to get that fantastic 512 meters of view range, so that I can spot for myself really, really well in this Kame, which will boost my assistance damage where I need to, and it helps me outspot targets at great distances too. With the camo net to get it down to that 278 meters of still concealment, it's better than I thought it was. 278 meters of still concealment, which means that we are super duper stealthy, which is pretty nice for the Kame, meaning that we can use bush locations quite well to be able to outspot people at distance and then be able to pull back behind the bush and stay unspotted as well. With the advanced loader to make the best out of the DPM on the old Kame. But like I say, if the gun does annoy you, you could drop the camo net and run the gun stabilizer, and that will get your accuracy during rotation and movement down to a super low level, which means that you will have a very, very snappy gun, and you can RBRT to your heart's content, you'll hit the target. Whether you'll pen it or not, who knows, but generally the gun will become absolutely fantastic with the gun stabilizer. But the gun is still pretty damn nice anyway, and that's why I run the camo net to get that fantastic level of camouflage. So what's the statistics like now with it fully equipped out? So as you can see, we've now got slightly better ground resistances, which we've not really helped out too much, but stuff like Born Leader helps that. And so that's got a little bit better, but again, they don't really hold the tank back whatsoever. 278 meters of steel concealment is really, really nice on the Kame. Like I say, it means you can stay unspotted in so many locations, and mixed with 512 meters of view range, means you can outspot your opponents at pretty damn good distances. With 287 meters of steel on the move concealment, sorry, that is also pretty nice. That's what I was thinking of when I said the 287, 286, somewhere in that range. That is also pretty good. It means you can move into position without getting spotted too easily. With a 49.96 degrees a second turret rotation speed, so it is way quicker than the hull now, and this turret does turn super duper quickly. With 0.81 accuracy during rotation, which is okay. With a 1.8 accuracy during movement, which again isn't bad, but it's also not great. So the aim circle will bloom out, but you've got a 1.84 second aim time now, which means it does aim in super quickly, so you can live with it. You're not going to be the snappiest medium tank in the universe, but you can live with it to be able to have that fantastic camouflage that we've managed to get it down to. You've got 0.29 accuracy at 100 meters now as well, instead of the 0.36, which again is pretty damn accurate. The gun will only ever really miss if you're firing on the move, for the most part, and the aim circle is rather large. You've got a 6.78 second reload, which is 2.8k DPM, which again is pretty damn nice for a tier 8 medium tank. Means you can shred to your heart's content with 320 alpha, and that is a nice damage per minute to have for a tier 8 medium tank. So yeah, that's the Kame. The Kame is let's say it's a pretty damn nice tier 8 medium tank. It can hold its own very, very well. You can farm up with it pretty well. You can use the camo to your advantage, spot out to your advantage, occasionally ricochet shots off the turret front when you're using the full 10 degrees of gun depression. It's just a pretty well balanced tier 8 medium tank. It does what it does. There's a lot of medium tanks out there that do what it does already. You know, it's not the new kid on the block that's got everything new and shiny and different. So you've got stuff like the CS52 Lease, the 53. The thing that the Kame does better than the Lease is the DPM, because you can see the DPM on this tank is 2.5, nearly 2.6, which is slower than that 2.8. But you got a little bit more armor on the CS52 Lease, not much though. You got the CS53 in the tech tree, which has 3k DPM, which has better gun handling, but worse aim time generally. And you got better pen on it, but slower shell velocity. You got the last new tank, really, which was the Proto Tipo 6, which has got 2.5k DPM. And the gun is generally way better during rotation, but worse during movement. You've got nice penetration on it. Your camo is worse, though, and that is something that holds this vehicle back a lot more than the Kame. You got the Senjutsu, which is a fantastic Soviet medium tank where you've got worse pen on the standard AP, but the heat rounds are beautiful. The DPM's worse, but you've also got a flamethrower, which is just fantastic for the Senjutsu. Indian Panzer is a tech tree tank. You've not quite got the camo that vehicle has, but that's because we're running the gun stabilizer to make that gun better. But you've got the 3k DPM, you've got the gun handling that's just way nicer. You know, you've got the Mutz as well, which everybody will know, which is a pretty solid tier 8 medium tank these days, because you've got that 3k DPM. You've got the good gun handling, you've got the 300 alpha, you've got 486 meters view range, which is, you know, average, similar mobility. So there's a lot of vehicles out there that are very, very similar to the Kame, but the Kame is just, they're all pretty well balanced, and this vehicle is a pretty damn nice tank to play generally. It's just pretty damn well balanced. But that's what it's like compared to most of the tanks that do 320 alpha at tier 8 that are medium tanks generally. You can see the slight differences between them all, and the tank's neither bottom of the list nor is it top of the list, you know? It's just one of those vehicles. And how much is it in the store? It's what, 8k gold? Yeah, 8,000 gold, which is not too bad. But it's, as always, what I'm always going to recommend is just wait for discounts, because discounts are always the best way to pick up vehicles. You never really want to buy things at full price. But there we go. Kame, it's a pretty solid tank. You're going to enjoy it by seeing some of the replays. So, as always, everybody, what I'm going to do now is send you into the replays where you can see if this tank's just a bit of you or not, and watch it in action. So, as always, everybody, I'll see you in the replays. So here we are in the replays with the Kame, and this first replay we are on Himmelsdorf, which is never the best map for a tank. It doesn't really have that much armor in the universe, But having the pretty nice gun and DPM will serve us well, because if we can put ourselves in good positions to be able to catch people out, get shots off, that's what we're going to do in this tank. And the best position for me to go to for that is C3, because it's going to take me a while to get up the hill, naturally. 50 kilometers an hour top speed. Decent power to weight, 18 point something horsepower per ton ratio, right? 18.57 as it were. But it'll just take a while to get to the top of the hill. I may as well go try and cut off their attack down the train tracks. And for anyone that goes and camps down at G3, I can get early shots at them too. Like that STA-1 down there, but sadly, we just didn't quite get the shot aimed in time to be able to get anything on him. Tiger 1 down there, side scraping as well. But we couldn't find any shots at him, and I decided to go for this light tank instead that was roaming down the train tracks. The first shot ended up missing him though, sadly. But we do get a shot into the side of that T92 LT as he was just YOLOing down the 1-2. And realistically, that guy's probably going to die for that because he's YOLOed into the rest of my team. But we get a nice shot there into the drive wheel of the STA-1. It's one thing that we're always trying to aim for, especially when the tanks are soft and squishy like an STA-1, is that if they poke that drive wheel out and we can track it and pen it, that's great, because we can always feed ourselves assistance damage by doing that. And then also keep them pinned in place, especially if they've already used their repair kit. And we can then farm them. And having 2.8k DPM, if someone's not using trap mechanic, we can permatrack them. But if they are using trap mechanic, well, yeah, we're not gonna be able to permatrack them. So we get a shot into the SP1C that tracked and penned. I decided to just progress up the train tracks to see if I could find what was camping back there, and we did find it. If we can get rid of this German Tier 7 light tank, that would be great. So we aim up for it, give the lead. Good night, Mr. German light tank, there's no escape for you. As Mr. Type 559 just went, you know what, yeah, I'm just going to drive out in front of you as well, but we didn't get the chance to shoot him. Straight for that drive wheel on the Tiger 1. It is big and juicy on the Tiger 1. It's very easy to know exactly where you're going to shoot. We've tracked and penned him finally with that one because he's already burnt his repair kit. He's not going to be able to put those tracks back on, and he gets shut down before we get the chance to shoot him. So we're detected, and that is by the guys on the hill. So we've got to be careful here. I'm trying to move from building to building so I'm not getting shot by them. I'm going to go see if we can get a shot at the SU-101, is it? Or an SU-100M1? I think that's what it was, the SU-100M1. But we couldn't find it. Look for the shot on the TVP, and it drops low. It always seems to be like that when you shoot at these guys. Shooting up, the shells always seem to dip low, but there we go. We end up hitting the front of the turret of the BZ-166, and on Himmelsdorf, oh, it was an SU-101, but on Himmelsdorf, yeah, artillery found the shot, 1200 damage straight to our side. Now, if an artillery is going to shoot you with HE, it will probably pen you if it hits your side, because of the fact you've only got 40mm of side armor. Because your side armor is, well, your side of your tank is rather large and fat. If RT is going to hit it, it's most likely going to pen, so be very careful of that with your Kame. If your artillery detected warning thing goes, run away! Run away! It's the best thing to do. Or just get yourselves nice and hidden and then wait for you to get unspotted, and then you can try and farm up. We also got lucky to still be alive. That Stirrer Mill probably is a bit annoyed that he only did track damage, but he must have been stock to do that, because if he's got the 105, he's not going to pen us and overmatch our side, whereas if he's got the 128mm gun, yeah, he's just going to go straight through because he'll overmatch. But we did get a nice shot into that Stirrer Mill who was still up there, but then we're capping. Their team is never going to get back to decap, but maybe we could get back to our cap to get a free shot before the game ends. So we're going to try and use the 50km/h top speed of the vehicle. As you can see, it keeps flickering between 49 and 50. So you don't quite go at 50km/h even on flat. But yeah, let's say it's fairly average in terms of that mobility for a tier 8 medium tank. And just as we get to the cap, Mr. T69, oh, game ends, and we finish the game with the victory, which we'll take. With a fairly average result there for the Kame, the 1 kill, 2.7k damage, the third class with the 1144 base XP. Decent game there for the Kame, just showing what it can do, even on that kind of city map. Now we're on to the second replay, and the second replay is here on Sand River. And on Sand River, what we're going to do is go towards the encounter cap, because we're in the Kame. The Kame doesn't have that much armor, quite frankly. And like I say, the turret armor with 200mm of thickness on it is pretty flat. So if you're using the 10 degrees of gun depression, you will be able to get a decent effective value on that turret front, and you will ricochet a decent amount of shots. It's not a guaranteed pen for everyone to go straight through it, but it's not really it's something you want to use as a last resort. It's not something that you really want to be using guaranteed, where you sit there going, aha, I've got a very good turret armor, because if you were to do that, it would probably end up going quite badly for you very quickly, and you'll just bleed all of your 1450 hit points and cry as you've been blown up, and your steaming pile of wreck is charring nicely. So this second replay on steps, like I said, we're going towards the encounter because because of that armor problem, we don't want to go to F1, F2 and go hull down there, because I don't really want to be the focus of everyone's attention. This vehicle is very much a support tank. It wants to be supporting everybody and trying to put in shots without being seen or without being the main focus of all the other tanks' attentions. So we've come to the encounter cab, but we're not really seeing anything. We've spotted the awful Panzer, but there's nothing else really here. I was fully expecting to have spotted something by now. There's an IKV-90B at C5. Quite a lot of their tanks are spotted at F1 too. So I decided, okay, you know what? I'm just going to close the distance on this awful Panther and just try and get rid of it. Now, if I'm to go hull down against this guy, yeah, I will bounce him, because his standard pen and his premium pen aren't quite good enough. Well, his standard pen especially is not good enough to go through my turret front, whereas his premium pen is enough to go through it on flat, but not particularly when I'm hull down. But we end up spotting the ISM, who slapped a shot straight through the side of my turret. And while we could go for that guy now, the Leopard, or the Leo, sorry, is running interference, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get the gun out of the game. With aim up, make sure we get rid of that awful Panther's gun, because he can do a lot of damage very, very quickly, because he's got very good DPM. And now we focus on the ISM. We went straight for that tracking shot into the ISM so that we keep him pinned, which made it a lot more difficult for him to be able to get his gun onto the Leo. And then artillery hit him, the Leo penned him, and we finished him off. We're up to 1510 damage with 798 assistance. And now we've just been shot by something like a TD that's at the back at B2. I'm assuming that was the IKV when I've just looked at the map. So I'm going to try and poke up and spot them if I can. We end up finding both arty, so you know what, we'll take our bacon where we can get it. We put a shot into the arty, and then we've got this AMX M445 on our left. So since he's in a better position for me to be able to shoot him, I'm just going to use my 10 degrees of gun depression, poke over and get him while I'm spotting the other guys. Because while that MX M445 is still alive, he could quite easily get shots into my side while I'm trying to focus on the arty and the TD and the medium, etc. So we end up finishing off the 45. We finish off the T43 with the next shot. And can we finish off this GW Panther to secure ourselves a Pascucci's? That would be great. So we put a shot into the turret of the GW Panther. Can we secure ourselves that Pascucci's medal? And sadly, we can't quite do it as the Leo shuts him down. But we did finish with game with a pretty decent result there for the Kame. Finished with the epic victory, 4 kills, 3,000 damage, 2.6k assistance, the second class, the sniper medal with the 1730 base XP. A pretty decent game there for the vehicle. 5.6k combined, not a bad combined, but in terms of the standard normal damage, probably a fairly average game again, yeah, for the Kame as a tier 8 medium tank. So we're on to the third replay. In this third replay, we're in a tier 10 lobby, and we're on this map, which is Kaunas. And on Kaunas, what I'm going to do is go to the position at C5-6 in that little area next to that rock in front of us, so that we can try and spot people as they cross the 9-0 and get free shots into them as they do cross as well. We've got a medium tank pushing into position at C8, which has spotted the Centauro, so we'll take the free chance to get a shot into the Centauro. So we've got one shot in there, and we're going to pre-aim to the next section where he's going to pop out and give us a free shot of damage if he decides to YOLO forward, which he does. So we put a second shot in, and we've got 620 damage so far starting off this replay, which is pretty nice in the tier 10 lobby. We'll take that. 2 shots into a tier 10 medium tank. Fantastic. So we're going to try and destroy this building in front of me. Why do I want to destroy this building? Because, well, if this building wasn't here, we'd have had another shot at that Centauro. But this building was stopping us doing that. So I'm hoping that maybe that Centauro will pull back into a position where I can shoot him, but it just sadly isn't to be the case for us. So what we're going to do is poke out a bit further round. We're going to see if we can spot anyone like their campers that are up there, or someone like this VK4502A. So I end up pinging him to say, help, shoot him, give me the assistance, but no one's realistically going to be in a place to shoot him. and we can't quite find that shot. And a badger, a sneaky badger, has got himself up close to this Marat. That's the camo for him there that meant that we couldn't actually see him. But we do get a shot into the Centauro, who's pushing over into a silly place, really, to try and get around this Marat. He does end up finishing him off. But now we're reloaded. I really want to get rid of that Italian tier 10 medium tank if I can. And we do get the shot in to finish him off. First kill of the game secured. Now we've got the medium tank behind us, which is a Raggy. So we're going to go after Mr. Ragnarok and get rid of him if we can. We've got to be careful, though, poking out around this corner, as if they've got anything in their little campy spot at F5 or anything else around this corner that does sit in that little gap, it could hurt us quite badly. But nothing seems to be here. So we're just going to pressure this Ragnarok, because he was reloading. So we're going to do what we can to pressure him and shut him down while he is reloading. But he fires at us. And I thought, that's a bit odd. I thought he would have been reloading right now. But in fact, I feel like he only fired 2 at my Panther. And he is now reloading finally. But in fact, he fires again. So he just reloaded pretty quickly. He's fired all 3 shells. Now, can we get the shot in? And that is such a slim shot to shut that guy down. Okay then, game. We'll take RNG giveth. RNG taketh. That was quite a nice shot to go in there. We're going for the Centurion for that tracking shot. We ended up getting it for 300 plus. But now I don't really want to pressure the Centurion. Why? Because that SU-130 PM is behind him, and he has easy shots to defend that Centurion. And with them having 2 other TDs, well, another TD somewhere that's unspotted, because we know where the other TD was. I think it's still the Badger that's alive. He could be up there with the SU-130 PM as well, and there's no point risking it and staying in that position, because we could just poke around the corner and end up losing all of our hit points. So we've come back here to try and spot for our people that are sat at C1, and this way we can try and cut off their attack down the AB line. I'm fully expecting a Badger maybe to appear out of nowhere and start progressing down there to be able to get shots at it. So we just checked our list and went, oh, where are they? And here we go. Here is the VK4502A. So we can try and get the tracking shot in. Thankfully, he bounces off my turret, but my gun derped and we hit the floor. So we put a shot into his lower plate, and we're going to try and drag him all the way around this corner, because my team should be able to shoot him if we do. We get the tracking shot in, and the Iraq 105 finishes him off for another kill for our team there. We've also got the Ragnarok crossing, so we put a shot into the side of the Ragnarok. We're also spotting him, so we're getting a bit of assistance. Can we get another one in before he gets into cover? Yes, we can. For 354, we'll take that roll, putting him down to 348 hit points, but he is unfortunately into cover there. But what you saw was us going straight through the track of the VK4502A. I went for it twice, and that was because I wanted to track him and pen him around the corner, so that my team, again, that was back at C1 had an easy shot at him, and they could help me not lose too many hit points in that regard. But unfortunately, the first shot derped. But then the second shot was perfectly placed, which meant that he was pinned around the corner, and my team could then finish him off. I knew that by pulling back, I could drag him around the corner and put him in a very precarious position. And thankfully, for me, that's how it worked. So the Ragnarok's behind that cover. He gets shut down by the Hori 2. I'm just being careful in where I'm poking out to see if we can spot anything. We know the Badger's dead. Oh, sorry, the Badger's not dead, but the Badger's down in the town, because that's what we noticed when we shot at the Centurion. So the Centurion is still alive somewhere around the F6 location. We know where one TD is, and I'm expecting the other TD to possibly be up there, and then the artillery down in their normal corner around J90. So I'm trying to go round and get to their TD spot, so I can get shots into them and maybe get some cheeky shots into the Centurion as well, as that would be pretty nice for us to get rid of him, because once the Centurion's dead, we can just turn our attention to the 2 TDs. So we end up spotting the Centurion, and I decide, no, okay, you know what, I'm going to ignore him. I'm going to go after these TDs, because I can get up, shut down the SU-130 PM, and then focus on the SMV. But the SMV gets shut down, so we get the shot into the SU-130 PM to finish him off, securing our 3rd kill of this game. But as we're going around the corner to get some extra shots into the Centurion, we end up finding the SU-14 too. It's like, hello, Mr. SU-14 too. I'm here for your life, Mr. Piggy. We're going for that tracking shot to stop him from getting away from us, which we managed. Which means by the time we've reloaded, we should be able to shut down this Soviet Tier 8 artillery, which we get our Pascucci's medal for our 4th kill. Meaning there's only 1 tank left on the enemy team here on Kaunas in this tier 10 game, and it's the Centurion from earlier on. He's still in that similar position to where we left him, and Bad Santa is gone. Bad Santa, get out of our game. You should be delivering presents Okay? Get back to your reindeers. So finish the game with the 4 kills, the 4.7k damage, the first class, the Pascucci's medal, 2.1k base XP. A really great game there for the Kame in a tier 10 lobby. Again, just showing what it does. You put it in that support position where you're going around, supporting your team, keeping the gun firing, keeping the DPM going, and not truly being the focus of people's attention. You're going to have a good time, because the moment people do decide to try and focus you out, it's where you're going to struggle because of the lack of armor on the hull. And you've already seen that the turret armor can ricochet shots and get you, that nice little bit of leeway that this vehicle can afford you in that regard. So it's not like being a CDC, where no matter where you put yourself, you're always going to get penned, except for you get very lucky with a ricochet. But, you know, you have that option if you need to. So, we're on the 4th and final replay. This is probably one of the best games I've had in this tank, and we are here on this map, which is Nebelberg. And on Nebelberg, what we're going to do is go to the position at K0. Because that K0 position in the corner is a very nice position to take, to be able to spot the people where that VK was going. We also got a nice shot on the move into that VK. And anyone else there, you can use the bushes to stay unspotted and spot these people. And especially since we've got nice camo, it's a very nice thing to be able to do. And if anyone pushes the medium tank at G7, like that BZ176 there, we can also get shots into them to stop that play happening. So we've managed to get ourselves into the corner here at K0. We're knocking down a few trees so that we've got a bit of better concealment. Look for the shot into the side of that VK3001D. And we actually get spotted by the TD that's right next to him and not him there. But we are close enough that firing will reduce our camo enough to be able to get spotted in that way. So the T25/2 is up next to the building. I'm just trying to see if I can get that... Well, I was just trying to see if I could get the heavy tank into my render distance. But maybe I could get the TD into my render distance, and I couldn't quite do it. The T25/2 ended up spotting us around that building as we pushed up a little bit too far. Hopefully we'll get the shot in to shut him down as he progresses through, but we can't actually find that shot. So what we're going to do instead is get below the ridge and try and get some free shots into him, but he actually gets finished off by the Hummel. We miss our snapshot there into the SMV CC56, but the way he was manoeuvring and how slow and sluggish that thing is to maneuver, I knew I was going to get another shot into him even though he got unspotted by just taking that blind fire. Again, if you know where something possibly is still, just take the blind fire. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So now we're here at this position at G0. What I want to do is progress very quickly to the position at D0 so that I can get up behind the people that are at E6 and get easy shots into them. But firing through this tree, I'm pretty convinced that I won't get spotted because my camo is good enough. So we're just going to use that option to try and farm up these guys in the rear. But now that SMV is starting to turn towards us, I don't really want to stay here. So we finish off the 3002M in the back. And now we're going to use the mobility to get up on top of that hill, because that's where we should be able to start farming those guys in the back. You saw me aim for the back end of the SMV, by the way, instead of going for the front end, because I wanted to try and set him on fire, because that's where the engine is, but it was no bueno. So we're behind these guys now. We looked for the shot into the Lance and C, but I thought that was a riskier shot than taking the shot into the BZ. And it's always a good idea to knock that thing's hit points down, as well, it's got a big gun and it hurts. Now we've got the shot into the Lance and C, because once again, where that Lance and C was going, I was pretty convinced I was going to have a shot into him. And with the shot into that guy, that secures our third kill of this game with 2.8k damage. Now we're going to go and get rid of these TDs that are up here. So we end up finding an Achilles. Good night, Mr. Achilles. Fourth kill of the game. We could shoot the Plague Bringer, but instead we're going to go for the Charioteer, because the Charioteer is just a deadly tank to leave alive. So we get one shot into him, trying to back up, trying to track him. We do pen him, sorry. He's YOLOing though, so we'll take the ram, because then we can knock him down to one-shottable, and there we go. We secure the kill on the Charioteer. We were only going to kill him with the next shot if he rammed us. We've got the GW Panther and the Plague Bringer directly in front of us. I'm just trying to find the angle for the shot at that Plague Bringer, but I'm not quite finding it. We noticed the TD on the map, and I know if I want to pull back for safety, I have to use this position I'm here. And that SMV could shoot me from that position. So we pull back, get the shot on the SMV for our 6th kill of this game. The Plague Bringer attacks quite aggressively. He manages to snap the shot on the move into our tracks, which I was quite surprised about, because the Plague Bringer these days doesn't have the best gun in the universe with its dispersion values, which makes the aim circle rather large. But we do manage to secure the kill into that guy for our 7th kill of the game. The artillery's charging us, so we load HE so we can get the biggest amount of damage. He's going to really struggle with his gun depression to get the shot in. He rams us, putting himself down to a one-shot here for our HE rounds, because the HE rounds on the Kame have that 420 alpha damage, and we secure our 8th kill of this game, the Radley Walters. Again, I was always convinced there that the GW Panther was never going to get that shot into me because of his gun depression problems. He has all the elevation in the world, he's an artillery, but in terms of gun depression, he's not going to secure that kill. I was a bit concerned, though, about the ram, because I knew if he rammed me, he was going to put himself into a position where I could kill him with HE. But the problem was, I didn't quite know if he was... Because he's a GW Panther, right? The GW Panther is still quite a heavy artillery. I don't really know how heavy the Kame is, so I wasn't quite sure whether he was going to kill me with that ram. And thankfully for me, he left me on 67 hit points, and that meant we could secure the one thing that we always like getting, which is that Radley Walters medal, which is that 8th kill medal. Meaning there's now 5 tanks left on our team, and 1 tank left on the enemy team. It is the Breaker of Walls, the Mauerbrecher. And the Mauerbrecher is over at D1, so we're going to just try and get ourselves over there before we cap, because we're always going to cap this game. There's no way the Mauerbrecher is ever getting back to D-cap. So we just want to get in a position where we can spot him coming out the town and get ourselves one last shot of damage. Or maybe the artillery hit him a minute ago and we could get our 9th kill of this game. That would always be great as well. So I'm going to move myself to the position just behind the rocks on that left-hand side, because I can use the rocks for cover and I can use the bushes for concealment as well, which will help me stay unspotted against that guy. Should probably load heat to guarantee a pen here, but, well, it is what it is. We're just going to aim the shot up, wait a little bit too long, and sadly, that means we don't get a final shot into that Mauerbrecher, but we do win the game, so we'll take it. So we won the game with the victory, the 8 kills, 5.5k damage, the Pascuchis Devastator, Radley Walters, Top Gun the High Caliber, the Sniper Medal with the First Class for that 2.1k base XP. Naturally, it's first day ace requirements, which means it's set to the hardest ace tanker requirements for the tier 8 mediums. So 2.1k base isn't quite an ace tanker yet. But that is a fantastic game for the Kame there. Like I say, it's a fully capable tier 8 medium tank. It does what it does. The gun's nice, DPM's good, mobility's average, good camo, armor's so-so. It's just a pretty decent tier 8 medium tank. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!